Why you should practice speaking. Sarah always dreamed of conversing fluently in English. She understood grammar rules perfectly and read complex texts with ease. However, when it came to speaking, a wall of anxiety rose immediately. Her tongue felt heavy, words tangled, and confidence evaporated swiftly. She knew this barrier held her back significantly from professional growth. One evening, watching an inspiring online video, Sarah realized her mistake. She had focused solely on passive learning, neglecting the active component. The video emphasized why you should practice speaking daily. True mastery wasn't just about knowing, it was about doing, about uttering sounds aloud and connecting thoughts effectively. Her first step was simple yet profound: listening. She immersed herself in English podcasts, interviews, and movies. She didn't just hear the words, she paid close attention to intonation, rhythm, and common phrases. This active listening helped her internalize the natural flow of spoken English more deeply. Next came mimicry. Sarah would pause audio clips and repeat sentences exactly as she heard them. This practice, how to talk in English naturally, felt awkward initially but quickly improved her pronunciation. She focused on the subtle nuances, the way native speakers connected words, making their speech sound seamless and authentic. Then, she discovered the power of talking to herself. At home, alone, she narrated her day, described objects, or even debated imaginary scenarios. This "how to talk at home to yourself" method removed the pressure of an audience. It allowed her to experiment freely with vocabulary and sentence structures without judgment. She'd stand before her mirror, pretending to give a presentation or conduct an interview. This self-dialogue built muscle memory for her mouth and tongue. It was a safe space to make mistakes, correct them instantly, and build confidence gradually. Every whispered word strengthened her resolve and improved her articulation skills. Sarah also started observing how other people talk in English. She paid attention to how colleagues interacted, how tourists asked for directions, and how characters conversed in shows. This passive observation provided insights into real-world communication styles and idiomatic expressions used frequently by others. She noticed their body language, their pauses, and their emphasis. This subtle learning helped her understand the unspoken rules of communication. It was more than just words, it was about context and connection. Sarah began feeling more attuned to the nuances of English conversation. Learning new words became an active process. Instead of just memorizing lists, Sarah learned words in context. She used flashcards with example sentences and tried to incorporate new vocabulary into her daily self-talk. This made retention much more effective and natural. She kept a small notebook, jotting down interesting phrases and expressions. Later, she would review these, actively attempting to weave them into her internal monologues. This systematic approach to how to learn words solidified her growing lexicon, making it accessible for recall during conversations. The biggest hurdle remained: how to talk with anyone. The thought of initiating a conversation with a native speaker still sent shivers down her spine. Fear of making mistakes, of sounding foolish, was a powerful deterrent. She knew this fear must be conquered. Her breakthrough came at a local language exchange meetup. With trembling hands, Sarah approached a friendly face. Her first words were clumsy, but the other person was patient and encouraging. This small interaction was a giant leap forward, proving her fears were largely unfounded. She started with simple greetings and questions. How are you? What do you do? These basic exchanges, though seemingly trivial, were crucial. Each successful interaction, no matter how brief, chipped away at her anxiety. It showed her that people were generally understanding. Sarah then consciously sought out opportunities. She joined an English-speaking book club, even though reading aloud terrified her initially. The shared passion for literature provided a natural icebreaker, fostering conversations that extended beyond simple pleasantries. This was a vital way of learning English practically. She learned to embrace imperfection. Fluency wasn't about speaking without errors, it was about speaking smoothly and confidently. She focused on conveying her message, not on grammatical precision in every single sentence. This shift in mindset significantly reduced her self-imposed pressure. When she made a mistake, she didn't dwell on it. She'd correct herself if she noticed, or simply move on. This resilience was key to how to improve your fluency. Constant self-correction during conversation could hinder natural flow, making it sound stilted and unnatural. Sarah discovered the power of asking open-ended questions. Instead of yes/no queries, she'd ask, "What do you think about?" or "Could you tell me more about?" This encouraged longer responses and allowed her to practice more extensive listening and comprehension skills. She also practiced rephrasing. If she didn't understand something, she'd ask, "So, if I understand correctly, you mean?" This clarified meaning and showed the speaker she was actively engaged. It also bought her a few extra seconds to formulate her own thoughts. Her journey wasn't linear, there were days of frustration. Sometimes, despite her best efforts, words still escaped her. On those days, she remembered the importance of perseverance. Consistency, even small daily efforts, was more valuable than sporadic intense study sessions. Sarah began recording her own voice. Listening back to herself allowed her to identify areas for improvement, like specific pronunciations or repetitive phrases. This self-assessment was uncomfortable at first but proved incredibly effective for refining her speaking style over time. She sought feedback from trusted friends who were native speakers. She'd ask them to politely correct her mistakes, especially recurring ones. Constructive criticism, delivered kindly, accelerated her progress significantly. It provided an external perspective she couldn't get from self-evaluation alone. Sarah also realized the importance of emotional connection. When she spoke about topics she genuinely cared about, her passion often overshadowed any linguistic imperfections. Her enthusiasm made her more engaging and less self-conscious about her accent or vocabulary. She started watching English stand-up comedy and talk shows. This exposed her to natural, conversational English with humor and colloquialisms. It helped her understand cultural nuances and the art of light-hearted banter, something formal textbooks rarely covered adequately. Her confidence grew steadily. She found herself participating more actively in discussions, even at work. What once seemed an insurmountable obstacle now felt like an exciting challenge. Her colleagues noticed the change, complimenting her remarkable progress regularly. The fear of judgment faded, replaced by a genuine desire to connect. She learned that most people appreciate the effort, regardless of perfect pronunciation. This shift in perspective, from fear to curiosity, transformed her entire approach to speaking English. Sarah embraced the concept of productive struggle. Instead of avoiding difficult conversations, she sought them out. Each time she navigated a complex discussion, her mental agility and linguistic flexibility improved exponentially. These challenges were her greatest teachers. She discovered various apps and online platforms offering speaking practice with AI or other learners. These tools provided accessible, low-pressure environments for consistent practice. They allowed her to simulate real conversations and receive immediate feedback, boosting her confidence further. Her journey became a testament to the idea that fluency is not an innate talent but a developed skill. It required dedication, strategic practice, and a willingness to step outside her comfort zone repeatedly. Every small victory fueled her determination for more. Sarah started helping other learners, sharing her journey and practical tips. Explaining concepts to others solidified her own understanding. It also gave her new opportunities to speak and to reinforce her own learning principles. Teaching was a powerful form of learning. She encouraged them to begin with simple phrases, just like she did. To not worry about perfection but to focus on clear communication. Her advice was always to start speaking, no matter how small the initial steps seemed. Action trumped hesitation. The concept of active recall became integral to her word-learning strategy. Instead of passively reviewing flashcards, she'd try to recall the meaning and then check. This strengthened the neural pathways, making words more readily available during spontaneous conversation. She also focused on learning common collocations and phrasal verbs. Knowing that "make a decision" sounded more natural than "do a decision" was crucial for sounding fluent. These chunks of language improved her naturalness and reduced hesitation significantly. Sarah learned to slow down her speech. Speaking too quickly often led to more errors and increased anxiety. A deliberate, controlled pace allowed her to think more clearly and articulate her thoughts more precisely, improving overall comprehension for both parties. She actively sought out native English speakers from diverse backgrounds to expose herself to different accents and speaking styles. This broadened her understanding and adaptability, making her a more versatile communicator capable of conversing globally. It was truly enriching. Her routine incorporated daily speaking exercises, 5 minutes of self-talk, 10 minutes of shadowing a podcast, and actively trying to speak English during errands. These consistent micro-practices accumulated into significant progress over weeks and months. She kept a mistake journal, not to dwell on errors, but to identify patterns. For example, consistently misusing a particular preposition. Once identified, she could target that specific error with focused practice, turning weaknesses into strengths methodically. Sarah understood that fluency was a journey, not a destination. There would always be new words, new expressions, and new nuances to learn. The joy was in the continuous improvement and the expanding ability to connect with diverse individuals. She celebrated small victories. Successfully ordering coffee in English without hesitation, participating in a brief work discussion, or even understanding a complex joke. These moments fueled her motivation and reinforced the effectiveness of her consistent practice efforts. The sheer joy of expressing herself freely became her greatest reward. No longer bound by linguistic limitations, she could share her opinions, tell stories, and build genuine connections with people from all walks of life. Her world expanded immensely. Her initial shyness was a distant memory. Sarah now confidently engaged in discussions, participated in international conferences, and even gave presentations in English. The transformation was profound, impacting every aspect of her personal and professional life positively. She reflected on the myriad ways she had learned. From listening to mimicking, from solitary practice to vibrant conversations, each method contributed. The key was the iterative process of trying, refining, and repeating, always pushing slightly beyond her comfort zone. How to talk to anyone in English seemed less daunting now. It was about mutual respect and a shared desire for communication. Errors were simply part of the process, opportunities for growth, rather than sources of embarrassment. This mindset was liberating. Sarah recognized that her emotional state heavily influenced her speaking ability. When she was relaxed and confident, words flowed more easily. Managing anxiety through mindfulness techniques and positive self-talk became another crucial aspect of her fluency journey. She also embraced the concept of productive procrastination. Instead of avoiding English tasks, she would break them down into smaller, manageable chunks. This made overwhelming goals seem achievable, ensuring consistent engagement even on days she felt less motivated. Her ability to think directly in English improved significantly. Initially, she translated from her native tongue, slowing her down. With constant practice, she started forming thoughts directly in English, which was a huge leap towards true fluency and naturalness. She understood that passive learning like reading and listening provides the input, but speaking is the crucial output. Without speaking practice, the input remains largely dormant. Active production is what solidifies knowledge and builds real communicative competence. Sarah's journey proved that anyone could achieve fluency with dedication. It wasn't about being naturally gifted, it was about consistent, targeted effort. The path was challenging but immensely rewarding, opening doors she never imagined possible before. She often advised new learners to find their own motivation. Whether it was for travel, career, or personal connection, a strong why fueled the how. Without a clear purpose, the discipline required for consistent speaking practice could wane easily. The joy of understanding diverse perspectives directly, without translation, was unparalleled. She could delve deeper into global cultures and engage in richer discussions. Her linguistic prowess unlocked a new dimension of human connection and global awareness. Sarah's transformation from a hesitant speaker to a confident communicator served as an inspiration to many. Her story was a living testament to the power of consistent practice, strategic learning, and unwavering belief in one's own potential. She now actively sought opportunities to mentor others. Passing on her accumulated wisdom about effective learning strategies and maintaining motivation was incredibly fulfilling. Her journey had come full circle, from learner to guide, sharing the light. "Just start talking," she would tell them, echoing her own initial struggle and ultimate triumph. "Don't wait for perfection. Every word you utter, every sentence you form, is a step closer to the fluency you dream of achieving." Her personal rule became, speak English every single day. Even if it was only to herself for a few minutes. This daily commitment kept her skills sharp and ensured continuous incremental improvement, a fundamental pillar of her success. The process of how to improve your fluency boiled down to consistent, deliberate practice, coupled with a fearless attitude towards mistakes. It was about finding joy in the journey, celebrating small wins, and relentlessly pursuing better communication. Sarah's story demonstrates that with the right mindset and practical techniques, anyone can transform their English speaking abilities. From shy whispers to confident pronouncements, her voice now resonates clearly, a testament to the power of practice and perseverance.